Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Equilibrium Probiotics. Ito ay ang bagong food supplement na gawa sa mga piling gulay at prutas at dumaan sa isang masusing proseso para mapangalagaan ang inyong kalusugan. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay dinisenyo para sa kalusugan ng ating tiyan, tulungan ang pagkuha ng sapat na nutrisyon at ang pagpapalabas sa ating sistema ng mga nakakasirang toxins. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay may iba't ibang disenyo at sangkap base sa inyong pangangailangan. Mula sa boost para sa mga bata, fortitude, boost to brain, miracle fruit, perimedium, at ang pinakabago, liver protein. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay may pagmamalaki na produktong gawa sa tayo. Ito ay mabibili sa Dashen, Geta Road, San Sebastian, Phase 3, Binauganan, Calmon City. At para sa mga malalayong lugar, mabibili din ang produkto ng Equilibrium Probiotics sa Lazada. Ito ay eksklusibong gawa ni Ginang Malu Reyes Nure. Ano pang hinihintay nyo, mga kasangga? Hala, bili na! Magandang umaga po, mga kasangga. Ito naman po ang inyong Kuya Dong. Samahan niyo po ako sa mahigit kalahating oras ng pagbabalita. Uy mga kasangga, magtataas na naman po ang presyo ng petrolyo ngayong araw na to, ngayong umaga. Kaya baka makahabol pa kayo. Alas 6 po yung pagtaas ng presyo ng petrolyo. Kaya baka mahabol pa niya yung lumang presyo, magkarga na. At for the early joiners sa ating Facebook live streaming, thank you very much kay Brother Joey Marquez, kay Sir Joey. Thank you, Sir Joey, for joining me. At kay Favorite Baker, si Richard Tayat, thanks for joining me this morning. Pero bago po natin simulan ang ating pagbabalita ngayong araw na ito, araw ng Martes, September 12. September 12 na po tayo. Ilang araw na lang po, Pasko na. Sandali na lang po ang hihintayin natin. Bago po natin ipagpatuloy yung ating pagbabalita, good morning sa ating mga TikTok viewers. Thank you very much sa pagsama sa akin sa TikTok Live. Sana po paki-like yung aking account sa TikTok. Pag nakarating po yan ng 1,000, pwede ko na pong isama sa aking live tuwing umaga. Ngayon po kasi hindi ko magamit yung platform sa TikTok kasi kailangan at least 1,000 followers. So, pakipollow na lang po ako sa aking TikTok para ma-experience nyo po yung itong platform na ginagamit ko. Sa ngalan ng Ama, at ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Mahal naming lumikha, maraming salamat sa bagong araw na ipinagkaloob niyo po sa amin. Sa mapayapang gabing lumipas at sa patuloy na pagbuhos ng iyong mga biyaya sa amin at sa aming bayan. Naway ipagkaloob mo pa po sa amin ang lakas at tibay ng loob upang mapaglabanan ng kasamaan at manatili po kami sa paggawa ng mabuti sa kapwa at sa pagsunod sa inyong itinurong tamang landas. Lahat po ng gawain namin, inaari namin sa ngalan ng iyong anak na si Jesus, na aming Panginoon. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. MSB, Kape at Balita sa Umaga. Maging sa inyo ni Kuya Dong. Ang ating balita ngayong araw na ito, ang ating mga news updates, ay hatid sa atin ng Equilibrium Probiotics. Please scan the QR code to see its health benefits. At ito po yung ating mga top stories for today. Gasoline price up by 20 centavos, diesel by 40 centavos. Government to review price caps after 2 weeks. Ex-DOF USEC says Panas wanted her out in July. On Brazilian island, revered Asian buffalo claims its place. Journalist files 2 million peso civil suit versus Badoy. Lawmaker backs MTRCB on its showtime suspension. SUV driver in Valenzuela road rage charged. And finally in sports, Cone happy with Asiad squad. And starting off with our headlines, gasoline price up by 20 centavos, diesel by 40 centavos. Report by Richmond Mercurio to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. Oil firms are raising pump prices anew today, extending the streak of increases in diesel and kerosene prices to a 10th consecutive week and gasoline for a 9th straight week. In separate advisories yesterday, oil companies said prices would go up by 20 centavos per liter for gasoline and 40 centavos per liter for diesel and 20 centavos per liter for kerosene. The upward price adjustments will take effect at 6 a.m. today for most companies except for Caltex, which implemented the price movements at 12:01 a.m. and Clean Fuel, which will implement it at 4:01 p.m. This week's adjustments reflect the movement in the international oil market as global prices rose after Saudi Arabia and Russia announced last week that they will extend the production cut up to December. The 10 straight weeks of upward adjustments in the prices of diesel and kerosene have now totaled to 14 pesos and 80 centavos per liter and 13 peso and 95 centavos per liter respectively. The 9 consecutive weeks of increases in gasoline prices, on the other hand, have amounted to 9 pesos and 85 centavos per liter. Next on our top stories, government to review price caps after 2 weeks. Report by Catherine Talavera to the Philippine Star. Diokno, despite no consultation, economic team backs price caps. Manila, Philippines. The government may be able to decide on whether it will lift the price cap on rice in the next 2 weeks, according to Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Alfredo Pascual. Maybe in another 2 weeks, we will have a good idea of the availability of supply, Pascual said over ANC yesterday. So maybe within 2 weeks, we should be able to lift or see whether we can lift the price cap already. Executive Order number 39, which was implemented on September 5, imposes a price ceiling for regular milled rice at 41 peso per kilo and 45 peso per kilo for well-milled rice. Pascual emphasized that the imposition of the price cap for rice is not a standalone measure of the government. This was done alongside efforts to address the issue of hoarding, profiteering, and cartelization, he said. May nahuli na ba? Wala pa naman. The TTI said earlier it would implement various forms of assistance to rice retailers, wholesalers, including small supermarkets that will be affected by the price ceiling, in coordination with other government agencies and stakeholders. These include financial assistance, loan programs, logistics support, and market linkages and support. Over the weekend, the DTI participated in the start of the distribution of the 15,000 pesos financial assistance for retailers affected by the rice price cap through the Department of Social Welfare and Development Sustainable Livelihood Program. The DTI added that government would also provide transportation in delivering rice from traders to retailers and reduce logistical costs. Market linkages will also be established to link local farmers with supermarket chains and other retailers and promote bulk buying or advance purchase of supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, resorts, and other commercial establishments. In a radio interview last week, Trade Assistant Secretary Agaton Uvero said the government is hoping that the imposition of the price ceiling on rice will not go beyond 1 month as it expects prices of the staple food to stabilize in 3 weeks. Price caps back. The economic team of the administration of President Marcos is in favor of the imposition of price control on rice through the issuance of EO 39. We agree with the President that implementing a price cap on rice is the most prudent course of action at the moment to achieve two critical objectives: stabilizing rice prices, and extending immediate support to our fellow countrymen. Department of Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno said in a statement. However, this should not persist for an extended period. This will effectively serve as an active stopgap to address the market's current circumstances. Conditions surely warrant a special mitigating measure. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman said, in an ideal scenario, we can let the market dictate prices. However, as Neda noted, we are now faced with extraordinary factors that we have to consider, Pangandaman explained. The budget secretary likewise reiterated the unified stand of the economic team on the price ceiling, saying that it is indeed a necessary, albeit temporary measure to help vulnerable and disadvantaged sectors amidst high prices of rice. We understand and fully support the decision of the president because there really are market players who have been misbehaving. Unfortunately, there really are hoarders and speculators na hindi naman po nahuhuli, no? We needed to act fast to effectively address this problem with a tit for tat strategy against unscrupulous traders, at least in the near term, Pangandaman said. As what Secretary Ben Diokno said, this will serve as an effective measure against non-competitive practices by market players. We just have to carefully calibrate, implement, and monitor it, she added. Diokno earlier said the Interagency Committee on Inflation and Market Outlook remains on top of monitoring the developments in food and non-food inflation. It will also closely monitor the implementation of EO 39 to help ensure that the short-term measure will be effective. The economic team remains resolute in its commitment to mitigate the impact of inflation and help protect our consumers, retailers, and farmers, Pangandaman said. We will put prime importance to the protection of our vulnerable sectors. We will help ensure the fast implementation of the government's targeted cash transfer program, the fuel subsidy program for qualified workers in the transportation sector, subsidies to registered small rice retailers, as well as other programs that will help aid our kababayans, she emphasized. Aid distribution. The DSWD started yesterday the distribution of 15,000 pesos cash aid to rice retailers affected by the price limit in public markets in Zamboanga del Sur, Pateros, and cities of Tambotas and Parañaque. In a statement, DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian said it was the Department of Agriculture, DA, and DTI who identified the 337 beneficiaries of the cash assistance, 15 in Pateros, 161 in Navotas, 129 in Parañaque, and 32 in Zamboanga del Sur. Last Saturday, the agency kicked off the release of the cash aid in Quezon City, San Juan, and Caloocan City. Decisive. In Congress, lawmakers have acknowledged the government's decisive action against suspected hoarders, along with the ceiling on the prices of rice, as among the reasons why prices of the staple have gone down. Their decisive actions, notably the implementation of the price ceiling on rice, have been instrumental in upholding stability on this vital commodity, even amidst the turbulent tides of the global market, said Quezon Rep. Mark Enverga, chairman of the House Committee on Agriculture and Food. Albay Rep. Joey Salceda, who heads the House Ways and Means Committee, said the price ceiling and subsequent raids conducted by Speaker Martin Romualdez brought some sanity back to the trading of rice. The cap ended the rice price spike. It is now clear that soaring costs of the grain is artificial, driven by market speculation, and rice traders driven by greed, Salceda said. With additional reports from Bella Carriazo, Sheila Crisostomo, Luis Maureen Simeon, and Delon Portalla. Ex-DOF USEC says Palace wanted her out in July. Report from the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. As early as July this year, Cielo Magno says Malacanang already wanted her out as Undersecretary of the Department of Finance on perceptions of being a kakamping or supporter of former Vice President Leni Robredo. Magno told the chiefs on Signals TV's One News yesterday that Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno persuaded President Marcos at the time to keep her in the DOF. Jokno was the one who recruited Magno last year to join him in the DOF from the University of the Philippines School of Economics. Magno returns to the UPSE beginning today as a tenured professor. Magno told the chiefs that apart from resuming teaching, she intends to write a book on economics for high school to include explanations about the law of supply and demand. A graph on the law of supply and demand, which she posted on Facebook together with a comment, I miss teaching, on the day that Malacanang announced the order on rice price caps, turned out to be the last straw for the palace. This time, Jokno could no longer dissuade the palace. Magno said Jokno showed her a text message from Malacanang last Wednesday telling him to ask for her resignation. I was asked to resign because of a post on Facebook by Secretary Jokno with an instruction from Malacanang, Magno said. Since July of this year, he was asked to remove me because of my being a kakamping. Kala ko ba unity? Woo! Unity. Magno said she voted for Robredo but was not part of her campaign team. When Jokno invited her to join him in the DOF, Magno said she opened her social media posts for public scrutiny, expecting that she would be vetted by the Marcos administration for her positions on various issues, including politics. While she was critical of both the Marcos dictatorship and the candidacy of Ferdinand Marcos Jr., urging his family to pay the 200 billion peso in estate taxes, Magno thought the invitation for her to join the finance team of the new administration bolstered its call for unity, the theme of the Marcos Duterte campaign. As finance undersecretary, she supported the concept of a sovereign wealth fund, although she said the final form of the Maharlika Investment Fund did not turn out to be what she expected. She was deployed to explain to the military and other uniformed personnel the reforms Jokno was pushing in their pension system to prevent fiscal collapse. Magno supported Jokno's arguments on the MUP's issue and was supposed to meet this week with other MUP representatives. Last July, when Malacanang was first wanted her out, Magno said, I know Secretary Jokno talked to the president to explain that I was helping him with the reforms in the DOF. And he said the president said, okay, he can keep me. When Jokno received the instruction from Malacanang to terminate her, I said I was resigning. So I submitted a resignation letter last Wednesday, Magno said. Over the weekend, Magno told reporters that Jokno told reporters that he and the rest of the economic team were not consulted and were shocked by the imposition of the price caps on rice. Malacanang announced that Magno was unsupportive and bent on maligning the administration. So her tenure in the DOF was no longer renewed following its expiration. Hindi naman nag-expire, piniresign nila. The full interview of the chiefs with Magno airs this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on One News. Good morning kay Brother Ramon Berenguer, PWD President ng Barangay Maligaya. Moving on to our world news. maganda naman tayo. Light news naman tayo for our global news. Magandang balita. On Brazilian island, revered